Brian Elliott in net. That's it. That's the story. So let's look at that and think, how much does the seasoned veteran in this particular situation help or aid you in taking the Flyers? Because we want to bet with our hearts. And we want to say, well, we know our team, so it's not just a homer pick, Shander. But where I have it now, Flyers are plus 1.5 on that spread. They're laying minus 200 there on the juice. Flip side, the Caps, in order for them to cover it at plus 170. The question is this a victory? Is this a Philadelphia Flyers? Is the momentum there right now where the Flyers have won 6 straight and they're 8-2 over the last 10? Carter Hart was a huge reason. It's not like Brian Elliott hasn't played in 2 or 3 months, but the last time he was in net was February 20th. The Philadelphia Flyers have been on an absolute tear right now, and they come into this thing with a pretty significant edge of momentum. Look, the Capitals, despite their most recent win against the Wild there, the Caps have needed victories over the last week in order to stop skids. And they really haven't been able to build on that. So that's a big concern in its own right here tonight. And yes, they are hosting this game, and at home, you're always going to have that advantage. And it's not just home ice advantage. It's what Washington itself has established. 18-9-5, it's pretty good. It's not great, but they're beatable. They're beatable. They're actually one of the worst home teams in the division, but that goes without saying, because when you're significantly better than anybody else on the road, you can afford it. It's not ideal, but again, tonight, this is a playoff-like atmosphere. The Philadelphia Flyers have shown zero signs right now of slowing down, and by going up against a better opponent, it hasn't been an issue for them. So I think that there is something where you can look at just momentum of turning this around and having a little hiccup. Just look, 8 of their last 10, right? A little hiccup. You lose to the Islanders, okay, you bounce back with a win. Lose to the Lightning, you bounce back, and then you start a 6-game win streak. Even before that, you had 4 of 5 in which the lone loss in that stretch came at home against the Devils. It's a bad loss at home against the Devils. Nobody's excusing that. But the point of it is that when you're looking at even the last 15 games, you really have to struggle to find a loss that mattered. I mean, I'm looking at this here right now, and it's not even close. They've won 6 straight. They've won 8 of their last 10. Before that, you've got 4 of 5 that they've won. We're now at 15 games, and I'll take it back 3 more where they were 2-1. So of the 18 games that they've most recently played, their last 18 games, they've lost 4 times. And at no point after that loss did they go out and lose again. And that is significant. Very significant. Carter Hart answering a lot of questions here locally that we've been asking, nearly rhetorical, for 20, 30, 40 years, it feels like, is something tangible. We can look at this and actually base some hopes on it. I think the play tonight, you take the Flyers on the money line. The puck line, wow, 6.5. It's the highest of the 4 games by a goal. And much like all the other games, or at least the Jackets-Flames game, you're going to be getting an even return on the under. There's a push for the under here, but the Flyers have come off a recent tear where they haven't gone, look, the Flyers haven't gone under 4 goals in their 6-game win streak. Last time they went under 4 was the last time they lost. And before that, they win 6-2 against the Panthers. Before that, there's another loss to the Islanders, and that's the only other time in which they have only put up 3 goals. This stretch, 8 of their last 10, the only time they're under 4 goals is when they lost, and they only lost twice. So if you think that this is a Philadelphia Flyers victory, I mean, you could stack this essentially and take the Flyers on the money line with an over 6.5. You're not going to be able to most likely in-game parlay that. Depends. Some places might let you. But if you're just looking at it individually, that would be one where the Flyers, you could take advantage of this momentum. And on top of that, you can collect based off of knowing Flyers, if they're winning any game, they're scoring more than 4 goals or 3 goals, pardon me. And I think you can get from, no knock on Brian Elliott, but I think you can get significant value here on an overplay if, in fact, they win this game, the Flyers win this game 5-3 or even 4-3. That's covering. That would be a big difference. Kevin Hayes, plus 1,100, first goal scorer. Hayes, the numbers with Hayes have been outstanding. And maybe that's something to look at in its own right. Not his own right, but in the team in its own right. Because if you want to look at any trend or try to connect anything, it would be the team's record when Kevin Hayes scores. And I think it's like 18-2 or something like that. It's ridiculous. So if you're building a narrative tonight, Hayes is going to score. The Flyers are winning on the money line. Therefore, they're going to score some goals. 4 is the bare minimum on the road in Washington. You should be able to get 3 goals. You should be able to get, from a Philadelphia Flyers victory standpoint, you should be able to get an over 6.5 play. You should. I don't think that's too much.